And welcome back. The time is now 5:43. Our breaking story this morning, of course, the airplane crash in the North Bay. We're talking about the plane that crashed here in American Canyon. We'll bring this map full screen so you can get a better lay of the land. But there's American Canyon there towards the bottom of the screen. In the middle there, you can see where the plane crash has been indicated. And just north and west of it, you see Napa Airport. Well, what happened was this morning at about 4:30 or so, a little after 4:30, a plane took off from Napa Airport and moments later was lost on radar. Air traffic controllers were trying to locate it, couldn't. And then at 4:43 here, just about 10 minutes afterwards, CHP got reports from folks on the road there on Highway 29, which is this stretch of the roadway right here, that they saw flames in the foothills just west of the airport. They went out there, they took a look, and sure enough, they did find wreckage out there. And so now we've got Napa Sheriff's deputies, we've got the CHP, and we've got CAL FIRE on the scene there. And the specific location we're talking about here is the Paolio Loop at the end of Watson here, up in the hills. That's where the plane went down. At this point, it's a small aircraft. In fact, I've got a picture here on the computer that I'd like to show you. This is what that aircraft looked like. It was a Skylane, I believe it was. Cessna, you can see it's a fixed-wing aircraft with the wings up above. It is a lightweight aircraft, doesn't hold. Well, let's bring George Raskin into this. He's a pilot in his own right. George, this has what, a crew capacity of about, what, 4?
It's a 4-place airplane, okay, James. So that means it could carry a pilot, a co-pilot, and 2 passengers, or a pilot and 3 passengers. With light aircraft, they tend not to speak in terms of the number of passengers, but the number of seats. So this is a 4-seat airplane. It's considered a complex aircraft. It's a very, very popular airplane. Complex because it has a constant speed prop. It's got a high performance engine, has great range, and it's one of the most popular. It's not exactly a trainer aircraft. It's really a step or two up above a training airplane, but a very popular airplane. There are a number of them still in use around the country. And again, this is located near Napa County Airport, and it's quite likely that this airplane took off out of Napa, and then there were simultaneously reports of a ball of fire found in the hills, along with separate reports from Oakland Center, the tracking facility that would have monitored the flight of this aircraft on radar. Simultaneous the reports that they were searching for an aircraft that had departed Napa. Approximately 4:30. These times are still a little bit sketchy. And again, James, it's not yet confirmed that this is the airplane, but these were the initial reports. According to Napa Airport, possibly a Cessna Skylane, also known as a Cessna 182.
NTSB will be involved in the investigation of this, but just by the very sheer nature of the aircraft itself, I suppose it's safe to assume the pilot was not a beginner, but somebody who at least has some experience behind them.
Presumably, if it was privately owned. It's unclear at this time whether or not this aircraft was under rental or whether or not it was a privately owned aircraft and the owner-operator was at the controls. But that's certainly very likely. Napa is a field, in addition to doing a fair amount of flight training there. Japan Airlines has a big training facility, but they don't use this aircraft for their flight training. But in addition to being used for a great deal of flight training, it is also a very popular field with private owners, and so it's quite possible that this could have been someone who is based at Napa Airport. Again, of course, all speculation at this time, but initial reports did say that it could have been, or likely was, a Cessna Skylane.
All right. George, thank you very much. We'll obviously continue following this story. I'm just noticing, though, on the satellite feeds this morning, we're also having live pictures coming in here, KTLA TV. You see the headlights there? That's the front end of the aircraft that is bringing home Bay Area journalists Una Lee and Laura Ling. Well, the pictures just went to black there a moment ago, but it'll come back, don't worry. Here are live interior shots of a hangar there at Burbank Airport, where those 2 journalists and presumably former President Bill Clinton will be making an appearance here. They'll be walking in. You can't see it in this shot, but we've got a whole bank of reporters and journalists, still photographers, videographers with giant video cameras there for the various TV outlets that are following this, all in that hangar awaiting the arrival now as we watch this plane on its final approach here to Burbank Airport. It, of course, has traveled quite some distance. This is that private aircraft that was chartered and delivered former President Bill Clinton to North Korea yesterday, where he met one-on-one with Kim Jong-il, the president there, the leader of North Korea. They talked about a number of issues. Paramount among them was, though, the release, the safe return of those two journalists who work for San Francisco-based KRON TV, a company co-founded in any case by former Vice President Al Gore, who we understand may also be in attendance in that hangar. He's obviously anxiously awaiting the safe return of his two employees. They'll be arriving here shortly. Initially, it was thought that they would arrive around 5:30, so they're obviously running just a little bit behind schedule, but still, they're on their way home, and that's the good news. Better late than never, I suppose, and a lot of their family standing by in that hangar as well, anxiously awaiting their arrival. And there you see it as it approaches ground level here, and in a moment we're going to see it touch down. And obviously the arrival of that aircraft being met with tears and cheers all at the same time. A lot of family and friends in Burbank right now, ready to embrace Una Lee and Laura Ling, and obviously they have a lot of friends too around the U.S. here. Made a lot of friends here as this story of their detention, ultimate conviction, and imprisonment in North Korea made national headlines over the past few months here. It was back in March when they went into captivity there in North Korea after crossing the border there in China into North Korea. We'll continue to follow it here. Oh, let's see, can we hold on just a little bit longer and watch it actually touch down? I hear the music going to our commercial break, but if we can just hang with it a tad bit more, we'll get that shot of it touching down as it's skimming the roofline here in Burbank. Oh man, can you imagine the emotion inside that plane right now as both of those journalists just looking out at Southern California now thinking we are home. Oh my goodness, we are finally home. And there, touchdown. All right, now we'll take a quick break. Oh, the puffs of smoke of the rear wheels, they are back on American soil for the first time since March of this year. You can bet tears are flowing inside that airplane right now. We'll continue with our coverage here and have live pictures of them coming off of that aircraft and walking into that hangar there at Burbank Airport in just a moment. Stay with us.